Alright ladies, I'm back with another video and this is something slightly different. I'm going to give you, out of all the teams in the league this season, one transfer I think every team should progress with. Um, Obviously I am slightly late to the party. Movements have happened. By the time that in between recording and posting this, maybe other people have moved to teams that I haven't been aware of. So if that happens, I apologise. I have already had to edit this list down. For example, I had Matez Fernandez on there from Manchester United. Obviously, that can't happen. I had Harry Wilson for Leeds and Tonali for Spurs. They have now since joined those respective clubs, and yeah. So I've changed this. I've got one or two players for each team. Some teams got one, some people have got two. It just depends on entirely what you give them. To be honest with you, you can stop complaining. So yeah, that's basically the premise, and let's go. All right, starting off with Arsenal, and I have got these two names here to offer to you. I've got Bradley Barcola from PSG and Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa, as much as it pains me to put him on this list for another club. We start with Barcola. This is the guy that a lot more people have been talking about when linking with Arsenal, from what I've heard. Um, Really, really good season last time out with PSG. Such an explosive player. Not for me as potent in the final third as you would want. But I mean, even this tournament in the World Cup, he has shown up massively. If I can, I'll try and get his fucking hell's boobies on my there's boobies on my screen. Yeah, 11 goals, 2 assists in limited game time because that PSG team has rotated so much. You've got Doué in there, you've got Kvaratskhelia in there, you've got a lot of attacking output there. And Barcola, if he wants to move somewhere to become the main man, I think Arsenal, honestly, would be the play. It's a new league, something new, different challenge, and it will really, for me, it will make him stand out in the French national team instead of competing directly with some of these players that he plays with at PSG and then competing on the international stage with them as well. And then Morgan Rogers, for me, this is the better pick because in a biased way, I think he's the better player. Obviously, I don't want him to go to Arsenal. I just don't want that to be the case. I love the bloke to bits, and he's been great for us in the last two seasons. Um, Off that left hand side, I think he would be the best option there. He's played. I mean, he's played a lot of football for us this year. I think having it off the left hand side, I think he would be a great choice for Arsenal to have, much more direct than Martinelli, and better at it than for me than Trossard is. Um, he offers quite a lot on that left hand side. Obviously, you play him more naturally in the number 10 role, but yeah, he's quite versatile. Could play across the wait. Oh my god, what is going on here? Fucking hell. Transfer markets is very much enjoying themselves. But yeah, Rogers as an option across on that left hand side, and then Barcola as more of a direct outlet there. For me, either or is the way you go. I wouldn't like if I was at Arsenal, I wouldn't turn my nose up at either of these players. They're both really, really good options to be exploring right now. Um, Barker potentially cheaper. Rogers has got a massive price tag on him. I think we've said like 130 million because of the Anderson deal, and we value him as a better player than Anderson, and we need the money for SCR rules and PSR rules and all that bollocks. So Rogers is not going to be cheap. I think Barcola gives you the option to sign more players and have a bit more of a versatile transfer window, which I think would be something that Arsenal would favour because they are looking at midfield options with Bruno Guimaraes and probably will be looking at further choices. But moving on to the Villa now, and this for me is obviously in a big area of interest for myself as a Villa fan. And these are the two names that I picked up: Samu Aghawa and Ibrahim Mbaye. We are already linked with Ibrahim Mbaye and have previously been linked with Aghawa across various seasons. We've been linked with him many a time. And for me, I would be very much okay with either of these players. I like these players from what I haven't watched them every week, but from what I've seen of them, they've been performing fairly well, fairly excitingly. Mainly young as well. That's what I want to look at. So by first, we've lacked creativity at times in the league this year. I think someone like Mbaye, who's young, someone hungry, not played that much football at PSG, and it's difficult to get into this team. I mean, for 40 million, look at how much he's on the bench, just not getting games that much in the Champions League. Look at that. scroll down for Liga, and yeah, he's playing 60, what, 13, 15, 1 minute, stuff like that. It's yeah, I mean, I would be very interested in taking a player like this. It says he could play left wing or right wing. We wouldn't play him down the middle. If we do keep Rodgers, that would be where he would play. And for me, get someone exciting and get the fans talking. We've been linked with people like Femi Aziz. It doesn't really tickle the pickle for me. I think someone like this from PSG moving over, I think that would be a massive move. Moving on to Aga Howell, we need Watkins competition. We really, really do. When it's been him on his own, he's struggled. We don't seem that confident in Tammy Abraham. He's got having surgery as well. I think he won't be fit until somewhere not long after the start of the season. But yeah, Watkins is getting older. He's shown at times this season that he's struggling. And I mean, this is a guy 13 goals in 20 Liga Portugal games is pretty incredible. It's a really, really decent return. Off the back of a huge injury at the moment, which is very unfortunate. But I mean, look at the form he was in, man. Scoring goals aplenty. So for me, I think this is a young guy again, hungry guy. This isn't really unrealistic as well. I don't think if someone like Evan Nilsson go to Bournemouth in the position they were, I think Samu would definitely have something. Obviously, different people. I'm not going to try and directly compare the two, but I think there would be some interest there. And yeah, I would very much take either of these two. These are two positions that we really really need. And honestly, the young um, market is what we need to get into. We need to be signing some younger players. We've signed Allison and Majo in January, and we need to develop a good young core in the squad because we have got quite an aging squad at the moment. Moving on to Bournemouth, my pick for Bournemouth is Juan Luis Sanchez, right back at Sevilla. I'll be honest, completely FM scouted him. I signed him in 1 or 2 saves, and he was a gem for me back in the day. So I've watched a little bit of his football, and I know a little bit about him. He's a pretty decent young right back. Obviously for pretty blatant reasons, Bournemouth need a new right back. Um, Adam Smith can't do it all on his own. Obviously, Jimenez is going to be fed to the wolves and charged through the streets of Bournemouth on a cross with a crown of thorns on top of his head, with people throwing tomatoes at him and shouting "shame, shame." But for me, I think replacing with another young Spanish right back is a fairly good move. If they could get him to near that 10 million value, I think that'd be great because Bournemouth are really good at taking these players and growing them. I think they're getting Marco Rosa in as a coach who very much fits in with that dynamic. Fairly youngish coach himself, so I think that would be a good move for all parties involved, except for Sevilla. I think they'd be losing out on quite a decent player here. I mean, nearly 2,000 minutes in the league and fairly consistent game player. Yeah, I think this is a good move for Bournemouth. Need to improve in that right back spot. Need to get a bit of depth in as well. I mean, Adam Smith, poor bastard, can't play 38 league games and then however many games Bournemouth do in Europe. And if they're going to want to be winning trophies, I think they need to be looking at people like Wanlu to develop and bring up from the bottom. Brentford now, and I've gone with Ukachukwu for Brentford. Will be on the shortlist of many Premier League teams, I think, as part of the relegated team clear out. He's too good for the Championship for me. Looked pretty good at Southampton. Was one of the only real positive ends for Burnley. We looked okay whenever he featured for Chelsea. Didn't really get that much game time, but nothing that I would scoff at personally. I think he offers quite a versatile role in that midfield. Is quite powerful going forward, and has got forward on a few occasions for Burnley in the season, and also pretty strong in the tackle. Decent build on the kid. Um, yeah, a lot of games played, a lot of games played, and he did well. I think he was one of the shining lights in a really really poor Burnley team. I think he made a good account for himself, much better so than a lot of people in the league. I think Brentford need a bit of midfield depth. I'm not massively convinced on Janelt and Jensen going forward. I think they've had their time in the team. I think they've been good servants for Brentford, but I don't know how much you'll be holding on to those two as key figures in there. I'm a fan of Yarmoliuk. I think he's quite good, but Henderson doesn't have the legs anymore. So I think you need one, if not maybe, and two bodies in there. And I think Ugachukwu would be a very, very good pickup. I mean, 20 million for Ugachukwu. I think Burnley have to take that, especially because teams like Brentford aren't really looking like they're in any danger of getting relegated. I personally think that this is a good move for everyone, and it gives Ugachukwu for me consistent Premier League football, a chance to try and push towards that France team, and maybe look for a move to a top tier club. I've had to neglect transfer mark for this one. This is Bournemouth signing. I think you've got to move for Gilberto Mora. Um, this guy is all the range at the moment. He is the next big thing from what I've seen. Played, I mean, what's that football for Tijuana at 15 years old? Ridiculous stuff. That is honestly genuinely crazy. Um, yeah, this guy's all the range. A young Mexican attacking midfielder. Again, I'm not gonna say I don't watch the Mexican league. I haven't watched a lot of him, but this is a case of you get there before everyone else. If he's actually valued at 8.4 million euros, I mean pounds, then you snap someone's hand off because the potential upside there is huge. This is the next, Caicedo project. The guy that you sign for cheap and flip for 100 odd million quid. He's been picked to the Mexico team at 17. There's clearly there's clearly something going for the geezer, and I think Brighton are the kind of team that he could look at and think, okay, they're used to plucking people out of the South American leagues, people out of almost obscurity, and bringing them into a prominent role in English and European football. So I think this is a move that would benefit the development of Mora. They've done it before. They know what to do with the kid, and it's a move that I think would be great for Brighton because this guy could cause some serious damage if he's as good as people say. Right, it's Chelsea's turn, and for me, Gonzalo Inacio is the way to go. They need to improve in that defence. I'm just not a fan of their defenders really. I like Colwill, and outside of that, I think it is absolute struggle town. Um, like honestly, the fact that Chalobah is their second best defender, and I don't hate Chalobah. I think Chalobah's a decent player, but I'm not a big fan of his, and he can be very inconsistent at times. I think you get someone like Inacio in, who's played a lot of football for Sporting, it's a lot of 90s, been one of their key men, as they've been fighting at the top of Portuguese football for a while now. And I'm surprised he hasn't been snapped up by anyone yet. I mean, the rumours on the right hand side said they were looking at Como and Galatasaray, was it? Which I think is stupid. I think he's got ability to go and play for Chelsea pretty easily. I think a 50 million quid bid would, I think that was sweet up Sporting, is it? And it's not as if Chelsea don't have the funds for it as well. And they really need to improve on it. He's a competent centre back. He's decent with the ball at his feet, and this with me would be a really really decent move to go for someone that isn't too expensive, that you're not really blowing the bank on, and and isn't at the top tier profile of footballer that Chelsea at times have signed, and it hasn't worked out. So this is someone you can bring in, not massive expectation, play him next to Colwell, get him comfortable in the team, under Xabi Alonso football, and yeah, get him really firing. Coventry City time. If you can get in for this guy, fucking do it. Like, I know some of these are a bit like out there, a bit like pipe dreams, but John Stones, if you can get in there for John Stones and absolutely fucking go for it. This guy's been an absolute stalwart at the back for City for many, many, many years now. Last season didn't play that much football. Was a bit injury prone, bit hit or miss with his time on the pitch. Only 9 games in the Premier League. Yeah, and I mean I know he's obviously massively injury prone. I know that is a factor, but if you can keep him fit, he's gone to World Cup, but he's not playing that much football at the World Cup. On a free deal, Kyle Walker went to Burnley for Christ's sake. Like, it can happen. It is perfectly feasible, and I think this is a really good move. He's so good on the ball. It brings such a breath of fresh air to that Cov defence, in the sense that this is a guy that's played in the Premier League for so long now. He'll bring another level of ability to a team that obviously full of a lot of championship players, in the sense that they are a championship team. Obviously, you wait to see the step up to work out how good all those players actually are, but yeah, Stones will bring a class above, and he can raise the level of the players around him as well. For me, that's captain material, and yeah, I would move heaven and earth for him. I'd give him anything he wants. Palace, I beg you, please fucking take him off our hands. Please, 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 please take him off our hands. Please do it. But I mean, it's cheap, but I mean, yeah, that will be my main option for Palace from a very selfish end. This would be the guy that I'd also look for. Nathan De very, very young. There's potential there, and he's had a pretty pretty bomb-ass season there with Anderlecht. Played a lot of football, and you'd thinking Wharton's probably on the way out. So maybe a team that I will be showing in a little bit in the video. But this for me is also a case of get there while you can, because even if he doesn't have a good few seasons for you, in 4 years he'll still be 21 and he'll still have potential there, and people still pay money for him. Like a team will be willing to take him on and get him back up to speed if it's the case that he's had a poor run of things. But I think this kid could be somewhat serious. I really, really do. Amazing on Football Manager, of course. It would be poor on me not to mention that. And yeah, Palace, if they jump in, even before the water money, like get in there while he's going to be cheaper before everyone starts sniffing around him because of his age as well. You start to think that people will want to get in there and have their fucking say, of course. But yeah, man, this guy down here starting games consistently for Anderlecht last season, and people like Yuri have come from Anderlecht and done a great job in European football and in English football especially. So yeah, Anderlecht is a bit of a farming ground, and I think to cat to Palace for a Palace sense would be fantastic. Everton are in desperate, desperate need of a striker, and for me, I think this might be the way forward. Following Balogun, he's had a good tournament so far. Got 3 goals and assists. Felt really good in that Paraguay game in the first game of the tournament, but like he obviously had a lot of hype coming out of the Arsenal academy. Played a few games for Arsenal, had a really good season in his first one for Monaco. But even then, this year, 13 goals, 5 goals in the Champions League, nothing really to scoff at. A really good run of form at the end of the season. For me, this is a guy that looks good on the ball. He looks like he can cause a defender a problem, sit defender on his bum, and put the ball really nicely into the back of the net. For me, Balogun, Balogun in the Premier League makes sense. He was an English guy for a while and then declared nationality for the Americans. Getting back to the motherland, and Everton, I think, is a club he just fit really well in. That kind of mid-table but pushing for more kind of team. I think he can come in and score 15 goals in a Premier League season. Have a pretty good run of things. And to be honest, you can't get much worse than better when Barry. So yeah, that'll do me and them, I think. Right, it's Hull time, and these are two fairly similar in a way and fairly different in another way players. I've got Nathan Ake and Tyrone Mings here for Hull. I promise this video just isn't all Villa players. I just think that these two will work well. Like how I was thinking for Cov, you need defense, you need experience at the back. These two have been in the Premier League for a very long time. Their game time has started to drop off a little bit as other options come in. I'll start off with Tyrone Mings, a guy I know obviously more about. Formatly change this. Kind of past it for us now. We are almost beyond the point of wanting to use Tyrone Mings. We kind of think that like obviously he's been fantastic for us going in previously, and it's been such a delight having him at the football club. I genuinely love the bloke to death, but I think as an entity, we probably want to be looking past Tyrone Mings and start to move on to someone younger, someone maybe better. He looked decent when he played for us. These games here, I remember he was actually pretty good against Newcastle, against Bournemouth. Not so good in these two, but we can move past that. But yeah, I think Tyrone Mings for Hull will be really good. Massive presence, offers off the set pieces as well, which I think Hull as a newly promoted team will have to rely on ever so slightly. And yeah, I think that would be a good option. Ake wise, this is a guy that's been quality for City for a while now, good at Bournemouth for a very prolonged period of time, and someone who isn't first choice anymore. You've got players ahead of him. You've got Gvardiol, you've got Kusanov, you've got Gahey, you've got Diaz there that are just first choice more than him. You've got O'Reilly there as well, and it reflects in his minutes. He's not playing as much football anymore. I think to go to Hull to play a lot of football and to try and keep them in the league, because let's be real, if they get relegated, he doesn't have to stay. He probably will go. But if you can keep them in the league, that'd be a massive, massive advertisement for just the quality that you can show and just to prove himself to be a really good footballer, which I think people know that he is by now. But yeah, I think to Hull, if they can swindle it, I think that would be a great move. Right, it's Ipswich time, and obviously Liam Delap is low hanging fruit. I mean, I'll say I think it would be a decent move for both parties, getting back to a place where he's good. Scored 12 league goals for them last season, I think it was, when he was their main man. And I think that'd be a fine move for both parties. That's all I'm going to really say on the matter. Everyone has spoken idiom about these two parties reuniting. But for me, I think Femi Aziz would be the way to go as well for Ipswich. Not promoted, which makes him a lot easier to access. 19 goals and assists in the Championship for a very decent Millwall team, not playing all the games there. But yeah, man, my stepbrother's quite a big fan of his. My stepbrother's a Blues fan, watches quite a lot of Championship football, and he said that Femi Aziz is a pretty exciting player. Quite good on the ball, quite quick, quite good feet, and I think sorry. I think I know he's on our radar, but he'll be on the radar for quite a few Premier League teams, and I think Ipswich for me makes the most sense. I don't know a whole heap about their attacking options, but I know that last time it's a bit of an issue for them. Hutchinson didn't play to the best of his abilities. Delap was fine, but outside of him, that was kind of it. So I think both of these would be good signings. To be fair, I would sign both if I was Ipswich, but I think Aziz can provide a bit of an attacking spark there. Whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench, I don't know. All right, for Leeds, I've gone with Zion Suzuki. They need a new goalkeeper for me. Lucas Perry doesn't cut the mustard. I don't think he's that good. I think he'd be an alright backup. Darlow's getting fairly old. I think he'd be perfectly fine as a third choice. But Suzuki's young. He's had a very decent World Cup. I very much liked watching him. I think he's a good shot stopper. Very willing to claim the ball in his box. Very commanding. He's saying suffered a broken hand, which is pretty unfortunate, man. Feel for the geezer. Missing a big chunk of the December there for Palmer, but he's been their number one for a while now. And for me, I think this would be a good move. Wouldn't be too expensive because I mean, Italian football's so bad that there's no money going around there anyway, so no one really matter. But yeah, Suzuki seems to be on the market this summer. I know Villa are looking at him. I would really like him to come to us, but we have a few options lined up, I think, in that sense. So if he was to go to Leeds, I don't think it will necessarily be the end from the world from a selfish kind of like point of view. Right, Liverpool next, and I've been thinking about midfield, but I think obviously with all the talk will be around that Salah replacement. And Yankuba Minter is for me one option. I've got another one in a second. It's a bit more controversial, but Yankuba Minter very dynamic, very fast, very exciting, and a very young player as well. I think going forward in a long-term option, I think he would be a really solid shout. I've liked him a lot for Brighton this. I like it a lot. I think he's been great for Brighton this season. Obviously, not got the output that you would want, but I think that can come with time. I think in a better team with better people to feed. No offense to Lane Welbeck, but I think Ekatike and Isak are better people to have giving the ball to. But I think Minter's a really good player. I've been a big fan of his all year, and I've spoken at Idiom in the player podium videos about how good I think Minter is. Now, the slightly more controversial option, Iliman Ndiaye, a lot more ready-made of a replacement than Minter. Obviously, that's not the big thing. I know he plays for Everton, and I know he probably wouldn't jump ship. But I think this would be a really good fit. I think Ndiaye would be so good at Liverpool. He is very direct. He can get in and score a goal like Salah can. I'm fairly sure he's right-footed, so it's not really it wouldn't be really like cutting into Robin-esque fire onto the curling shots, but mate, he's just such a good player. He's had 2 great years at Everton. He's been a mainstay in their team whenever he's been fit, and he's had some really good performances this season. I'm a massive fan of Ndiaye's. And I know it's a grey area crossing the Merseyside border, and I know not a lot of people do it. I can't remember the last time someone went directly between the two clubs, but for me, I think this is a great shout. I think in the terms of player profile, if there was someone called Iliman Ndiaye out there, the exact same bloke but played for like PSV, I think they'd be all over him. And I think I think if he signed for Liverpool, he would be like electric. I think he'd be one of the most dangerous players in the league by a long shot. Right, for Man City, I've got Mika Götze. Obviously, they don't need forward reinforcements. For me, this is a you get there first. This is like Mora for Brighton. And it's like Decat for Crystal Palace. I think Mika Götze is... I mean, look at these stats, man. I haven't watched him play that much football. I'll be so real with you. But if you're putting up those numbers at 21 for Ajax, the most prestigious team in the Eredivisie, and I mean, I've heard a lot of rumours around his name. I think City are the top kind of team that will pay that money and get there first. And if he succeeds, he succeeds. It's like Savinho-esque in that kind of sense. Like, obviously that's different slightly because the blue, the this is not blue curse, the wrong one, because of the ownership with Troyes and Girona. But the same way, if it doesn't work, you can easily recoup your money and then some. Like Götze looks to be a really, really good player, and it's the kind of guy that City would buy. He'd be more of a Pep signing that City would get him. Um, Obviously now it's Maresca. I don't know how differently they're going to operate, but I think Götze could be something serious, and I think that yeah, I mean if it is 35 million, I think you jump straight on that. I mentioned him earlier for Manchester United. I've got Adam Wharton. Um, yeah, I mean it's already here. I didn't even plan that, but yeah, yeah, he's just exactly what they need for me. Great on the half turn, so defensively solid and really decent passer of the ball. Just replacing Casemiro really well. Big stature in that midfield. Deceptively strong as well. I would say that. But yeah, I mean, if he ends up going to Liverpool, I think if I was a United fan, I'd be really disappointed because this guy. I mean, he dropped off slightly last season compared to season before, but I think he still had a really good year. And I think for me, this is the guy that you jump all over if you're any of the big team. I mean, I was like, if I was City, I wouldn't have blamed them for going for him over Anderson. I know the slightly different profile of player, but yeah, I mean, Wharton's a serious baller, and he's going to be snapped up. He's going to cost a lot, but United are probably the biggest club in England, and I've got the money for it, so they'll be fine on the transfer wise. For Newcastle next, and I've gone side El Marla, and these last few players are going to introduce a bit of a tone that there is in the Premier League at the moment, that we lack attacking spark. A lot of teams now don't have that player that you look at and think, you're a cut above the rest in this team, and the things you can do with the football are crazy. And El Marla, I think, could come in and potentially be that guy for Newcastle. Lots of hype around this kid's name, let me say that. Really good season in the Bundesliga, one of the breakout years, I think it was overall. And it wouldn't be the most expensive move in the world. They've got a lot of Gordon money sitting there doing nothing, and for me, El Marla could slot straight in and be a massive option. Straight away could work well with Walter Marda. I think those two. I mean, Walter Marda needs to be playing up front. This is sidetracked, so I don't know why he was playing in the midfield towards the end of the season. But yeah, I think getting that little German contingent going forward, I think that would be really, really beneficial for Newcastle. And you know, if someone bigger does come in, which happens to be the case with that club at the moment, then you're chilling. You recoup your money and you can build on it and go again. I think El Marla could come in and cause a real issue in the Premier League. For Nottingham Forest, I'm going with Johan Manzambi. A bit of personal scouting on this geezer. I thought he was really good against us in the final. He was the only Freiburg player that I looked at and thought, you're quite good. Had a pretty big year in the Bundesliga. Massively, like, he's everywhere on the pitch. He does so much work, like running, and he's got a really nice little bit of footwork on him. Played quite a bit of footy this year for Freiburg. Hold on, let me just find this freaking hey. But yeah. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I think Gibbs White's going to go this season. I mean, I won't spoil it, but I think you'll find out very quickly where I think that'll materialise. But yeah, for me, Manzambi is going to be on a lot of Bundesliga players. I just realised that are coming into the league. But yeah, I think he's next on the block to move from Germany to England, and I think he would actually fit in really well because he could do either or really. He could play the Anderson role or play the Gibbs White role, whatever you really need him to do. He can drop a bit deeper. I think defensively he isn't as strong as he's going forward, but if you've got if you've got Sangare holding next to him or someone along that lines, I think you would get away with it. And then obviously if you have him in the 10, if you're in the midfield or like even playing off of the main striker, I think he'd be really, really successful in that role for Nottingham Forest. Sunderland now, and for me it's Matthias Sule who I would be going for, and you can't say it's unrealistic because they signed Granit Xhaka last season and they've literally bought an attacker from Roma before in Enzo Lefebvre. Their signings last year were great, except for the majority of people they signed going forward who kind of stank of poo, for quite a lot of it. And I think Sule, with the Europa League money, with the pool that they've got, I think Sule would be a great option to sign in. Got European experience, literally played in the Europa League this year, the competition that they'll be entering soon. Sunderland in European football, and someone with European experience is what you need. You've got Xhaka, who looks to be going out the door, so bringing in someone like Sule, who's been there and done that at that stage before, I think would be really beneficial to the cause there for Sunderland. They really need to look at some attacking options. It is literally just Lefay, Brobby, and their band of merry men. People like I don't mind Chris Rigg, but I think he's very raw and unproven. Signings like Talby, like Bertie Traore, like Nilson Angulo haven't done it for me. So I think they need to bring in a big marquee player like Sule, someone with European pedigree and experience, still fairly young, so room to grow and could still progress and be a dangerous threat going forward. I think that would be beneficial there for Sunderland, very much so. And the reason I think that Manzami needs to go to Forest is because I think Gibbs White will be going to Tottenham this year. Well, I think they should be going to Tottenham this year. They can afford this because they've spunked a load of money up the wall already. They spent so much money. They've brought in Van Hecker. They've brought in Tonali. They've brought in what's his face? What's his face? I've completely forgotten. Mateus Fernandez. Great signings, by the way. 3 really good signings. And just why not just complete that midfield? Full new faces. They need someone going forward. They need someone like Gibbs White, who's more versatile. He can play in the 10 and he can play out wide, and then another striker. And I think for me, then you're looking at a serious team. They've already brought in Senesi on a free as well. Dubravka to back up Kinski probably. So I think this would be a massive statement. And for me, I think this would round up a really, really good transfer window there for Spurs. Gibbs White is a great player. Had a generational season last time out for Forest, just absolutely printing. He was really, really good. Like their highlight in an awful year. This form towards the end of the season was just magic. And yeah, for me, I think if you couldn't do it last time, if you don't succeed, try again. And for me, there's no benefit this year to actually staying at Forest. So I reckon he should go, and I reckon he would be over it. Actually, I think he'd be there for it. But yeah, that's been it from me. A little bit of a different way going this time out. Wonder what you think about it. I'll be back to normal videos fairly soon. I'll try and sprinkle in a few different form content as well, and I will be continually posting on the Substack as well. So thank you very much for watching, boys, and have a good one.